Joining us now is House of Delegates member Rick Morris. Rick is a Republican from the 64th District, and that represents part of Isle of Wight, Suffolk, and other areas out there. Rick, a very ardent supporter in the past of the Ted Cruz for President campaign, now has come around to supporting our presumptive nominee, Donald Trump. Delegate Morris, good to have you with us, man.
Thanks, John. I appreciate you having me on. Great to be with you.
Hey, man, always a pleasure. Now, you were one of the most fervent supporters of Ted Cruz at our 3rd District meeting, the 3rd Congressional District Convention on Saturday. I thought you were very passionate and articulate in asking Cruz supporters like yourself to come and join the Trump team. Delegate Morris, can you elaborate on that?
John, I've always been a strong supporter of Ted Cruz. I think he's been a strong patriot for putting forth those constitutional principles that our country was founded upon, and I believe he is the best person to advance those values. But the reality is he's not our guy. He's not our nominee. And I was not a big supporter of Trump. He could have been 8 or 9 down the list, but he is our Republican nominee. And no matter what, I know that his values is going to be even somewhat, even just a small part of my values, if they are, that it's going to be better than Hillary Clinton or Bernie Sanders, because absolutely 100%, there's nothing in their values that I support or is good for our country. So to move the ball down the field, we got to get behind Trump. Even just some of our constitutional values and principles is better than nothing at all, than turning the other way towards socialism. And I'm hopeful that Trump will be a strong supporter for those constitutional principles and values. But I think he's going to be a very strong proponent for free, moving more towards a free market system and getting rid of those business regulations that are stifling our jobs and our middle class and our economy. And so I'm very hopeful for that. And I'm 100% behind Trump. We got to get to work, as Republicans, and as strong conservatives, these victories don't come easy, and they will not come without all of us rolling up our sleeves, getting in the trenches, and going door to door, find our voters, and get them out. So, I'm 100% behind Donald Trump, and I hope all of the conservatives and Republicans are with me, and we got to get to work.
Now, Delegate Morris, what would be your specific message to Cruz supporters out there that are still not comfortable? I mean, I talked to several of them at your 3rd District meeting there in Portsmouth on Saturday. I understand you need some time to grieve and to heal when you can. It goes down. But I talked to some of them that were just not there, and they were telling me, I just don't know. I just don't know if I can do anything to help the Trump campaign. I just don't know. What is your specific message to them that are still grieving over the Cruz defeat?
I just say crying time's over. It's time to get to work. I mean, we can either sit on the sidelines or get to work. And if we sit on the sidelines, we're not in the game, and the other guy's going to win. That's going to help carry Hillary Clinton and, another 4 years of Barack Obama's policies to our country and move us further down the road of serfdom, because that's what's going to happen if Hillary Clinton or Bernie Sanders is the president of the United States. I just tell everyone, my Cruz fellow supporters that, we got to get to work. We've got to get Donald Trump elected. He is a Republican nominee. And it's either, there's no cavalry riding over the hill to save us from these socialist, liberal, lunatic programs. It's either we get to work or we lose. And surrender is not an option. We've got to get to work, come behind our candidate, and help get Donald Trump elected President of the United States.
I like that, Delegate Morris. Surrender is not an option because we're in dire straits right now, and I agree with you 100%. I don't think we have the time to mess with this. I think one more term of Obama's policies, there might be no way back, especially because the next president is likely to name several Supreme Court justices to tip the balance there. And if it goes the other way, it really doesn't matter. Look, we have seen, Delegate Morris, it doesn't matter what the legislative body does. If you have an activist Supreme Court, like we've seen, they can just overturn things and the other side wins out. So this is going to be so critical. I think sitting on our hands just is not an option. So hopefully we can get that message out. Delegate, let's get to Terry McAuliffe's edict, basically restoring voting rights to 420,000 felons in Virginia. This has become now a raging battle in the state. And let me tell you my position on it, then I want to get your take. And I've said this from the first day. I think because Terry McAuliffe did it now, he's politicizing it, and it looks like an effort to sign voters up for Clinton more than doing the right thing. I think if Terry McAuliffe had laid this out and said, I'm going to make this effective November 10th, 2016, so nobody can say that it was done for political purposes, I think people would have taken a fairer look at this. But it really smacks of political opportunism to me. What say you?
Well, that's all Terry McAuliffe is political opportunity. I don't think he's done anything in the best interest of Virginia. The only thing he's done is the best interest of himself and his own political career in supporting Hillary Clinton. So now this broad sweep to allow these hardened felons to re-enter righteous society. Well, what have they done to make whole the victims that they've perpetrated their offenses against? Nothing is guaranteed that they've done restitution, not only to the victims, to the court, and to society in general. So this is nothing but a political move by Terry McAuliffe, but you know what? It's exactly what he stands for.
Well, you know, the other thing that you have to be concerned about is the potential voting fraud in Virginia. I mean, one of the other things that Terry McAuliffe did that I was just shocked by is when they quietly tried to change the voting registration form layout in Virginia. And you know that box that you have to check that says, I am a U.S. citizen? Obviously, to vote, you have to be a U.S. citizen, right? I mean, you can't be a non-citizen and vote in a U.S. election. So it's a box there. And then the fine print on the bottom says, you have to tell the truth or bad things happen. And so he wanted to take out the box and just put it in the fine print so that nobody could be prosecuted because they didn't do anything. They didn't check the box. They simply could say, I didn't understand it. The print was too small. And that got overturned. But when the governor tries to do things like that, the whole episode becomes suspect. And, what I've said to them, because they've had conference calls with reporters and whatnot, and the question I've asked is, why not just go out and win the state for Hillary without cheating? I mean, why do you have to cheat, get new voters, do, edicts, change forms? Why not just go out and win? How do you respond to that?
Well, it's the same reason why they labeled the Affordable Health Care Act affordable, because they have to call it something it's not. Because these lunatic liberal policies do nothing but destroy our country, destroy our culture, because they're based on lies. And that's why they got to lie to win, because if people really understood what their policies are all about, they will lose hands down. So it's just part of their policy. It's part of their tactics.
Well, you got to fight this. I'm not sure you can do anything about it. I mean, we've had a number of...
well, we can. We need to get Ed Gillespie elected governor in 2017. That's how we can fight this.
If a Republican were to be elected governor, Delegate Morris, could they then overturn this edict?
Well, just like Governor McAuliffe started it, someone else can turn it around. But I'm sure there's going to be efforts through the General Assembly to make sure that we get this corrected without, an overstepping governor ever to do it again.
Delegate, what about the 2017 gubernatorial election in Virginia? You mentioned Ed Gillespie. There's several candidates running. Do you think Ed's the guy?
Ed's going to be a very, very strong candidate. I think he definitely has the organization that can pull this out, the fundraising, and he has some conservative principles that can help turn our state around. So I think any Republican candidate right now is going to be so much better than Terry McAuliffe. So we're just looking forward to get a strong Republican governor in there that we can turn around some of these lunatic liberal policies that Terry McAuliffe has put forward.
Do you favor in 2017, the Republicans nominating their statewide office holders, governor, lieutenant governor, and attorney general via a convention or a primary?
I'm either or. I believe in the conventions. The conventions are the grassroots of the party, and but there's advantages to primaries also. We're able to capture data for voters to help ensure that we get them back out to the polls. So I see advantages to both sides. I think some, really depends on the times. 1 year it may be better for a convention, next year it may be better for a primary. But that's why we have a state central committee to look at it. So it's not a one policy fits all. It's we got to look at it each year, see where the wins are at, where our party's at, and what's best to help advance our party.
Absolutely, and that decision will be made, I guess, in January for 2017 by the state central. Many of those people getting elected now. I'm generally in favor of primaries where they make sense because of the data, but I believe in this case there was a deal made that we would have a primary for the presidential for Super Tuesday, and in exchange for that, we would have a nominating convention for the statewide office holders in 2017. So regardless of which way I think it should go, I believe that when you make a deal and you shake a hand, that's it, it's done. So I'm hopeful that those on the state central committee that made that commitment will stick by it, because at the end of the day, Rick, as you know, all you have is your word. And when you go back on that, you don't have anything. So hopefully we can get that straightened out. Now, I want to talk about our upcoming District 4 convention, May 21. Delegate Morris, that'll be in Wakefield. We know you're going to be there as part of your district. And the official Donald Trump for President national delegation team include myself, my wife, Ann Fredericks, and Chesapeake Councilman Robert Ike. And, sir, we would love to get your endorsement and your vote on May 21.
Well, John, I appreciate chatting with you about this earlier, and I definitely endorse you for the convention. I think you would be a great representative of the Republican Party at the convention. You've been a strong supporter of Trump early on, and I appreciate your energy that you bring to that debate, and looking forward to endorsing you there at the convention.
Thank you so much, and we'll have you as one of our speakers for that. We appreciate the help. Final word on that convention. What do you look for? Do you see any surprises?
No, I just hopefully we get folks who are ready to get to work, and we need to get organized and roll up our sleeves and get back into the trenches. It's elections are not easily won. As Thomas Paine said, tyranny like evil is not easily defeated, and neither is Democrats. So we got to roll our sleeves up, get in the trenches, and get to work so we can win this election. All
right, that sounds excellent. I want to thank Rick Morris for being with us. If people want more information on you, where do they go?
It's Del, RickMorris.com.
DelRickMorris.com, DelRickMorris.com. We want to thank Rick for being with us. He'll be at our convention on May 21st. And Rick, thank you for your endorsement of us and your vote. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate it, John. Take care.
All right.